Hello, everybody. Oh, wow. Why am I starting it off like that? What is going on? Let me restart. YouTube, Spotify, you have been hit with the Seoul Dojo podcast. My name is Curtis Russell. Yes, it is me. It's a solo show today. I got my new camera on right here. You guys can see it if you're not on Spotify, of course. I'm just going to make sure that everything is sounding just right to my liking. Here, give me a second. I need to move over to YouTube. In here, maybe I could do it from my phone real quick, just real quick from my phone. Make sure that you guys can hear me. Oh, there we go. Yep, perfect. Man, there is not loads to talk about today in the world of gaming, but we do have a few things to talk about. A lot of it's going to be do with just like how the video game industry is going at the moment, sales, things like that. Things of that nature, layoffs, a lot of stuff is going to be going on in that nature. So I'm glad that you guys are here with me on this beautiful Tuesday night. Brandon could not make it tonight because he had some stuff that he was dealing with. So Brandon, love you on the show, man. Cannot wait to have you back on the show very, very soon. But yeah, you guys got me. I should probably start doing more solo shows. I'll be honest with you. I should probably start doing more solo shows in the sense of that, like, when I do regular shows with somebody with me, I always we just kind of stick to the news and we stick to the discussions and things like that. And I've been meaning to kind of start doing more solo shows and just kind of talk to you guys more on a personal level about video games and about myself. That's what the Seoul Dojo was supposed to be coming back to. That was kind of the theme when I kind of got it back up and going. Yeah, I'm glad I get kind of a solo show after how many shows have we done? About 5 or 6 shows with Brandon and my brother Cam and stuff like that. And yeah, it's always been good to have those guys on, but I love to just kind of talk to you guys. So yeah, maybe before we get into everything, maybe talk a little bit on a personal level. Look, I've over the last couple of years, I would say over the last 3 years, I've been through a couple of things. We all go through things in life that make us into the people that we are today in the present. And I went through a few things maybe like 2-3 years ago that made me such a stronger person now, that the stuff I go through now, I'm ready for it and I'm more of a stronger person for it. I have so many relationships that are fractured in a lot of ways. I talked a little bit about that in my introduction, the Seoul Dojo introduction podcast, where or episode, where I talked about there's a lot of relationships that I don't have now for my own reason. And it hurts me in a few ways, but also like I'm like, I can handle this. This is fine. Ultimately, because at the end of the day, a lot of things that I've went through, I've came out on the other side of, and I've came out on the other side of worse things. One of those things I do want to talk about, because we'll be talking about a lot of video game conversation around a lot of different games and a lot of different topics, is I've had some very toxic video game conversations over the years, as far back as like 6-7 years ago, especially when you talk about games in a light where it's more industry based, it's more business. And I've noticed that, like, and I've talked a little bit about this in my introduction podcast on the Seoul Dojo. It's like I don't know, you have these conversations with these people, and they make it like personal at once, because I'm a person that I've had a lot of the facts. I play loads of different games and genres and things like that, loads of different games. I like to consider myself within the industry. When you look at my work with Sports Gamers Online, with Game Luster, everything that I do here on the Seoul Dojo, I feel like I've always had that expertise. So, and I always know what I'm talking about when it comes to video games. Like, I look at it in a very subjective way. And I have a lot of facts to back up my claims. And I'm not the hot taker guy, but like when I've had conversations with, people, they would just kind of, you know, they would make it, if you were kind of making good points, they would try to make it personal. And, you know, these people would try to discount your credibility or like discount your opinion about games. And then, you know, they would make it into an argument, then they would make it personal. And it's like, dude, like that's why I don't talk to these people, not even on just a video game level. I don't talk to these people on a friend level either. There's like a list of people that I have, and I'm like, I don't talk about video games with these people because they are childish. They make it about personal things, and that's just not how I want to talk about video games. I want to talk about video games in a certain light. And I've had, the best of friends do it to me. And especially when like I come with really good opinion, and that's when I know I've done a really good job, is like when they have to turn it into a personal thing. Um, but like I've had people like just kind of push off a lot of opinions to the side, and it like I said, these things happened a long time ago. I don't have these conversations much anymore, but like I look on Twitter and X and I see these conversations still going on with video games, and it's like, dude, like at the end of the day, it's super subjective with video games. It's super subjective. Like we all have different experiences, and we view games differently. Even though music, I feel like, is more subjective than video games, because even with video games, we all kind of experience the same game, right? I feel like with music, that's even more subjective because there's so many layers with music. There is a lot of layers with video games, but it's more with music. But yeah, like what I've realized with these people when I look back on these conversations, and I'm not holding on to these conversations, when I look at these conversations that I've had, and I'm like, a lot of this, like I was talking to people that weren't as qualified as me. And I'm not trying to be egotistical or anything, but I was talking to people that their gaming knowledge it stems more from their nostalgia, right? And nostalgia is a really, really powerful thing. And I live in the now. I live in what games we have now. I live in the state of the industry now. And I remember exactly how it was. Like I've had almost every console under the sun. I've had the PlayStation 3, I've had PlayStation 2s, I've had Xbox 360s, I've had an Xbox, I've had a GameCube, I've had a 64, I've had a Wii, I've had everything. And, PC, all that. Like nostalgia is so strong. And I feel like some of these conversations I was having, they led with a lot of nostalgia. And that's where a lot of their video game knowledge comes from. And I don't think they remembered everything. Like nostalgia is dangerous because you don't remember everything. Like you don't remember everything correctly. And it's not how it's always chalked up to be. And I feel like that was a major flaw in their argument a lot of times. Now, there's a certain person that just has completely disqualified my opinion completely, which is weird given like I have developers literally hitting me up wanting me to review their games because I make good reviews and I have good opinions. So I think that's just weird, especially when somebody's qualified like me, or has experience like me. But it's all good when it comes to them. It really is. It really is all good when it comes to them. But like I said, it's like it led with nostalgia, but it's funny how like now these people are quiet and they don't want to talk about games, or they don't throw their opinion in there just to disagree. And everything I said since 2017, when I started the Seoul Dojo, all the way up to now, it's funny how all those things, just about all those things, have come to fruition. It's just funny. And they've never, said, I'm sorry for being so personable about it. I'm sorry for, excuse me. I'm sorry for being so personal about it. I'm sorry for, I was wrong. I can kind of see what you're talking about now. Or I'll never get that. And you'll never get sorry from people, because people have done me wrong. A lot of people have done me wrong, and I don't talk to those people. It's one of those things where it's like, you rub me the wrong way one more time, or not even one more time. You rub me the wrong way one time, There's just no coming back. I've given people multiple chances before, and they've gotten their last chance. And I'm moving forward now. Like I said in the beginning, I've been through some really rough stuff. And I'm not saying, I'm pretty sure people have been through worse, but I've gotten on the other side of it. I've had my experiences, and like I'm taking those forward, and I'm becoming a better person when it comes to those things, and being a better person and being better in the future, and not being so worried about who talks to me, who doesn't talk to me, who is in touch, who didn't make things personal, who kind of respects my opinion. I'm not worried about that anymore. Because at the end of the day, I'm not going to get a sorry from these people. And my way of dealing with that is, well, I'm just not going to talk to you. All right. Sorry, that was a big, long intro into this just in. We're going to talk about some video game stuff now. I try to make that about video games also. I feel like when I do things myself, and and it's just me. Again, you guys might not be able to see it. It's just me on this podcast right now. No Brandon, no Cam. And it's just me. I want to try to make it a little bit more personal with the video games attached, because video games have been such a big thing in my life. And like, I want to just, keep it part of my life, and still relate video games to what's going on. So this just in, Riot Games is downsizing the 2XKO team. Now 2XKO, it is a fighting game. It's a fighting game that features League of Legends players, or League of Legends champions. There's 150 champions in the game. It features League of Legends characters. I recently did a interview with the main composer of this game. He was a very nice man. It was really good interview. You can go check it out on Sports Gamers Online. Riot Games is getting rid of about 80 people. This is just an ongoing issue with the gaming industry, where we see loads of layoffs, and I feel like this is chalked up to so many different things, right? The games are getting more expensive to make, and they're not selling to those expectations that a lot of fans or developers want. We're seeing that. We're seeing that over across the board. We're about to be talking about the loads of this, like sales expectations, things like that. These games are getting more expensive to make, and they're not selling super, super well, or what investors and what developers want. Now, this is a free-to-play game. They chalked this downsizing up to the fact that they were trying to move the game from PC to console. They expected more players to be on there, and they had to downsize because they don't need, I think it's just more of just like they don't need as many people. So it does suck that a lot of people are losing their jobs. But it's an ongoing issue in the industry. Games are not hitting sales numbers, and people are losing their jobs. And it's bad. And it seems like the gaming industry is just getting more greedy with everything. It's getting way more greedy with everything that it does. When you look at the prices of games, they're trying, to meet sales expectations with those type of prices, $70-$80 a games. Another thing is like, God, what was the other thing? I just had it in my mind. Completely forgot. Yeah, it sucks. I mean, I never played this game. It looks cool. I don't know the type of game. The art style looks fine in 2XKO. It looks fine, but it's like it's a League of Legends spinoff that nobody really was asking for, because it's a fighting game, and it's a game based off of a MOBA, and the game has such a cult following, and it's really big, and it's like it just wasn't a game that was gonna do massive numbers and just be, this cult hit. And it's a free-to-play game also, so it just wasn't gonna do that well. I don't think it was always really gonna do that well. So maybe they knew this was coming, moving out of, I think it was coming out of early access, and that's why I went to console. And now that it's been out on consoles since like January, maybe like we got to downsize. We don't need as many people, so maybe I'm gonna chalk it up to that. But it's sad that people are losing their jobs. Really sad. The next thing we'll talk about, like I said, we're moving through pretty quick. It's only been 15 minutes. I feel like I've been talking forever. So this might not be the hour-long podcast that we're usually used to, but it's a lot of me. Okay. It's a lot of me. MLB The Show. New details on the road to the show. Man, have you seen the craziness that is going on about MLB The Show 26? And I'll talk about it a little bit. Look, MLB The Show 26, a lot of people just want this game to look different completely. They want a graphics overhaul. I don't think that's out of the equation for SDS. I think that you could do a graphics overhaul and it can be 3-4 years out. You could do that. And I think with sports games, as they come out yearly, you can do that. You can definitely plan a graphics overhaul, work on that for 3 years as you're still making the game. And this is just one route that they could do. As you're still making the game, do your graphics overhaul, and then you present it as boom. Hey, this is the brand new MLB The Show. This is what we're doing moving forward. F1's done it. I feel like my bad. Football Manager has done it. Yeah, it's been kind of a rocky launch. F1 is doing it at the moment. They will not have a full game come out. They're only doing like a seasonal update, kind of like what Pez did. There's a seasonal update coming. I feel like MLB could do that and do a graphics overhaul. Or if they want to move to an Unreal Engine, they could take a year off or just do a seasonal update. They can do these things. But that's kind of what the conversation is amongst the MLB community, is like the game is looking like the same every year. It's not going on current consoles. It's not going on past gen consoles. So like the game should finally move forward and move into a new era. Moving with the current consoles and even the newer consoles that are coming out next. So ultimately, we're going to have to see kind of what goes on with MLB The Show. Now, what came out today was the trailer for the road to the show. A lot of details came out. They're expanding a lot on the college stuff, which is really cool. There's, I think, 11 new teams that are coming to the game. They've also integrated the college baseball championship, which I think is pretty cool. So there's more games to play. And they've done a lot. They've done a lot of like quality of life improvements to Road to the Show, adding a few new things, which is great. I think the college stuff, they're leaning really hard on that because that was a very massive feature last year. They're leaning hard on it this year. Progression is newer. A lot of the trade logic. And you can manufacture your way into the MLB more and stuff like that. You can check it out on YouTube. What do I think about it? I wish Brandon was here because I know he would have more to say about it. But honestly, I like Road to the Show. Some of the new additions, again, like I said, they look more quality of life-ish. The big one was college, and they really leaned on that. And they're like, yo, we're going to keep doing this. We're going to keep moving forward, making the college experience better, which I think is cool. That really makes the longevity of your playthrough. With the stuff they added, it doesn't double it, but it definitely makes it bigger and much more of a longer playthrough. So I'm happy with some of the changes that I saw. Again, I can see why a lot of people are upset with SDS right now and the state of MLB because they feel like it's not moving forward. It's stuck in a little bit of a limbo when it comes to the graphical side of the game. And there's a game in Japan, I forgot what it's called, that looks a lot better. So we just got to see. We just got to see with it. All right, news. Moving over to news. WWE 2K26 revealed its showcase, of course, with CM Punk. The universe mode draft we got a bit of a look at that. We also got our first bit of the island. The first thing I want to talk about is the ringside pass that I've been meaning to talk about here for a minute. I just think where we're at now with WWE 2K is like we have an island that's similar to the city in NBA. They now have a ringside pass or whatever, and you have to basically buy this pass, or you buy one of the or you buy like one of the things that comes with the the Attitude Era edition or whatever. You get all these add-ons and stuff, and it'll come with it, and spend the money for the premium version, and then like now you have to play to get the characters that you want and get the things that you want, but you already paid the money. And if you don't want to play it, if you don't want to pay it, if you don't want to play through all that content, now you have to pay more to get those things. So it is just so predatory. Like, it really is predatory. Like, you're paying for the audacity to keep playing the game. Now, I know a lot of people are just chalking it up to, oh, well, you're mad about playing the game. It's not even about that. Like, I want new characters, new wrestlers in my game. I have no problem paying for it. Last year I did it. I was like, dude, I spent like 30 hours on universe mode last year. More probably. I think I spent about 50. And I'm like, this is great. I want to expand it and make it better. I'm going to pay for Stephanie Vaquer. I'm going to pay for Penta. I'm going to pay for this pack. And what is it? And I've always said, if it's a good game, I have no problem paying for add-ons that are like $10, $5. I have no problem. Because I'm like, at that point, you're kind of giving back to the developers for making a good game. But here's the thing. I don't want to pay and then have to play more to get what I want and play things I don't really want to play. So they're going to have to watch how they do this, because I don't want to play my faction to get a few new wrestlers. Within the showcase mode, and I'll talk a little bit about the showcase mode. Within the showcase mode, they have this thing called the gauntlet. You know, it's probably another way to get your characters faster, to kind of go through the ranks of the ring side pass, whatever the ringside pass. Is that what it's called? Fucking ringside pass. It's a better way to get through it, but it's still a predatory practice, man. Like, it's still 2K like. And when I say NBA 2K like that game is riddled with all type of stuff. Microtransactions, pay to win schemes, a freaking casino, like a slap in the face, whether they had it in there the whole time or not. Like, you're just treating your customers like shit. But here's the thing. NBA fans are subscribing to it so much. NBA 2K fans subscribe to it so much. They're all about it. And what is the wrestling fans going to do? They're going to be all about it. So anyway, you're going to be able to play CM Punk in the showcase mode. You're going to be able to, showcase mode. It kind of gives you these what if scenarios. They give you this history lesson through wrestling history, which is always fun. It looks cool. I mean, it looks like, they did their little trailer. It starts off with them at WrestleMania 41, which was the first main event for CM Punk, which I think is a good starting point. And then they go through his whole career. It looks fine. It looks fine. It looks fine. It looks great. It looks cool. Great. I'm pretty sure you're going to be able to unlock some cool stuff. I'm pretty sure it's going to be a cool showcase mode. Universe Draft. We got our first look at Universe Mode. That is the headlining feature for Universe Mode. It's the draft. And then of course they got like a few new things coming. They have like they're gonna have more quality of life updates coming to the Universe Mode. Like what was it? Like promos, new promos, and things like that. I mean, there's like literally not they have this thing called the Creation Wizard, which I'm interested in. We'll see what that is about. We don't know exactly what that's about at the moment, but I'm pretty sure we'll hear more about it. I think it's more about how you set up your shows in the future. I think that's what that's for, but it could be another big feature for the game, or somewhat big feature. I don't know. Everything else when it comes to Universe Mode just seems like it's just a quality of life thing. And I don't know. This mode it deserves so much more, and it's a mode that I just love playing so much. And it's a mode that just little bits come out on it. The island, we got our first look at the Order of Anarchy, one of the factions that are in the game, because apparently, players will be able to enter the island and then they'll choose one of the three factions. We saw the Order of Anarchy. CM Punk revealed that he is the leader of the Order of Anarchy. So I would like to see what the other factions are. I think there might be a women's faction. There might be another men's faction. We'll see. And we'll see kind of how this island experience has, because this is the second rendition of the island. We'll see how it looks. If it's bigger, if it's better, we'll see what happens. Again, WWE 2K, I think you can play it early March 16th. It comes out March 13th. We'll see how it goes. I'm excited for it. I love, WWE 2K. I love a universe mode, so we'll see what happens. Moving on to PlayStation State of Play, February 12th. That is coming up very, very soon. what do we expect from PlayStation? I feel like the big one for PlayStation was the last one when they showed Wolverine, but I think they might show more 007, First Light. There could be something there with God of War. Some people are kind of hinting at we need something God of War like. Maybe like a side-scrolling God of War game, maybe like just a regular side game on the God of War franchise. We haven't seen the God of War franchise in a while. We've seen maybe there could be some stuff coming to Ghost of Yote. We just got to see. I think we'll talk more about what we see. I feel like the Xbox one was a little bit more significant for Xbox. I really like the Xbox Developer Direct. I feel like that was a little bit more. That one was a little bit more significant for Xbox because Xbox needed a big win after all the craziness that came out with the Game Pass stuff, and hey, we're giving PlayStation Halo, and we're giving PlayStation Gears of War and Forza. I mean, it was just ridiculous, and that's kind of one of the reasons why the gaming industry is in a weird spot. Like when it comes to money, is because like publishers like Xbox have to now give off their 30 years of exclusives to PlayStation, just giving them away. Hey, we need more money, so we're going to put it on your platform. And PlayStation's not going to say no to having Halo on its platform. But it's weird to me, man. It's all really, really weird to me. It really is. All right. This is going to lead to one of our discussions and talking points. All right. We have Avowed and The Outer Worlds 2 failed to meet expectations, sales expectations. And this is coming from the Game Awards posted this on X. I want to talk about just some of the conversation I've seen in the comments. This game did not fail sales expectations because of political agendas and stuff like that. Like because of woke agendas that you guys try to throw on everybody. That's not why this game so. Just because there's homosexual characters in both of these games does not mean anything about the sales numbers. Also, the sales numbers do not justify if it is or isn't a good game. Both of these games are good in their own rights. They were safe in a way, but both of these games are good games. Let's start with Avowed. Avowed came out early last year, February. I think people just didn't really know much about Avowed, and they didn't really know what to make of it. So I feel like not a lot of people bought it for that. Also, Game Pass downloads don't really count as sales. But I think Avowed, it was a good game. I like Avowed. It wasn't nothing special, but I don't think a lot of people really understood that. And in a gaming industry and in like a gaming landscape right now where most of your players, the players that are within the gaming community are gun and ball gamers, people that are casuals, like 70%, they're not really gonna gamble, especially when games are like $70. You're just not gonna gamble on a game that you're just not sure about with minimal to limited promotion, because that's what both of these games got. Obsidian didn't really promote these games. Xbox didn't really promote these games like that. Yeah, we had a few deep dives for Avowed, but a lot of people, again, just weren't sure exactly what we were getting here, and not many people knew. And it was early in the year. You just had that rush of Call of Duty games and all the stuff that comes out towards the end of the year. So maybe a lot of people were just like, no, I'm not going to spend $70 on a game I'm not really sure about. I played it, Game Pass, but yeah. The Outer Worlds 2, came out. Battlefield just came out. Call of Duty came out. Ghost of Yote came out. It came out in October, tail end of October. I feel like the timeline or the release date of this game really hurt it. Because I've said that, like, I think when I tried to do my first impressions review on the Outer Worlds, I think I said it during my recording where I was just like, this game kind of got swept under the rug really hard, and I'm finally getting to it. Like, I don't think a lot of people, I think the Outer Worlds 2, it kind of got a little bit of a reputation through the first game, but again, it came out during a really rough time. I think a time that it wasn't really a favorable game and the more sought out game. So I think that's kind of why it got hit. Also, like the price points, the the fact that there was limited promotion on these games, I think it kind of all factored in. I think I read something over the first 3 months or 3 days or something like that. It didn't even hit 1 million. So it's tough out here. It's tough out here because you're spending that much money. And Obsidian came out with 2 games. Like I said, gun and ball gamers. And when I say gun and ball gamers, I mean people that like play Call of Duty, 2K, and then they try to have an opinion on Expedition 33 or Metaphor Reventasio. Like they try to have these opinions. These people, they don't play these games, right? They make up the majority of the gaming landscape amongst fans. So they're not going to pay $70 for the Outer Worlds 2. They're not. They're not. They're not gonna spend that. We might, because we want to play good games and we want to see how well these games are. But they're also not gonna know that Obsidian is a well-known developer that made Fallout New Vegas and deserves its flowers. Like, they're not gonna know things like that. And most casuals won't see it. Also, I kind of feel like most casuals might see post about, oh, it's $70 and they're paying $70 for this kind of experience and this and that, and they see a little bit of negative stuff about a game and they're like, not gonna touch that. So like, it's like those little Instagram posts that say, hey, this game's doing this game ain't not, like a little bit of negativity might draw those potential buyers away. And I feel like that's what happened with both of these games. They're good games. Hopefully, I think Obsidian is going for an Avowed 2, which is great. Let's kind of push that game out there, and kind of get it maybe in the summer, whatever, maybe a summer 2029 game. Try to get it out there when there's not many games around and get it out there, and hopefully people buy these games because they are good games. Like, good games are getting drowned out by negativity. And I feel like Expedition 33 kind of got that, like the negativity of just weird negativity of people not playing the game, or people just outright saying, hey, it isn't as good as it should be, or it's not as good as people are saying, which is just wrong. And good games don't have to be great. All games don't have to be absolutely ground shaking legendary games. Some games are just good games, and these are 2 good games in this landscape where we get a lot of, release this game, has a bunch of bugs, it's not that good. Right? In a land of Starfields and the launch of Cyberpunk 2077, you have games like your Avowed in the Outer Worlds that come out in good conditions with good content and genuinely good dialogue, good games to play. So, moving on from that, speaking of more sales expectation stuff, Sonic Racing's Cross Worlds didn't sell well. I mean, I don't know who's asking for Sonic games like this. I don't know who's asking for Sonic Racing games. I don't know. I don't know who's asking for these games. Who's asking for these games? I don't know. Like, are we surprised that game didn't sell well? It hit 1 million and the expectation was 2 million? Are we excited? Like, are we scratching our head at that? I hope not. Because when you have games like Mario Kart, I will go on the record and say, instead of people buying a Sonic Racing Cross Worlds game, people would rather spend the money on a Switch 2 and get Mario Kart World. The mass majority of the gaming landscape and the gaming fans would probably do that because they know Mario Kart. They know it's a fun party game. They can play it with a bunch of their friends. But like, if somebody pulls out, hey man, let's play Sonic Racing. Sonic Racing? Does Sonic need a car? He's the fastest thing in the universe. What? I don't know. I'm not hating on the game. I heard apparently it's really good. I hope it does well in the future. But like, at the end of the day, I'm not playing this Sonic game because it's a Sonic Racing game. If I want to play like an arcadey kart game, I'm gonna play Mario Kart, whether it's 8 or World. Like, I don't think many people are gonna, like, if your whole thing was to be competition for Mario Kart, you got to go a little harder than that. Like, I'm sorry, But yeah, it didn't sell well, didn't really meet expectations. I hope Sega didn't think it was. I mean, this is a sequel to another Sonic racing game. Like, you thought it was cool to do it twice. Okay, I'm not. Look, man, we're here. We want to see games succeed. Okay, I want to see games succeed, and I'm just going off on Sonic Racing, because I don't know. I just feel like there should be another Sonic game besides Sonic Racing. Yeah, I mean, that's just me. That's just how I see it. That's kind of everything I got for today. Not really much in the gaming world going on at the moment. Yeah, just remember to have good gaming conversations. Just remember that. Like I said, I've had some really rough ones. Ones that were just weird. Like, I have conversations with other people, and they are not the same conversations as I've had in the past. And like I said, a lot of people are blacklisted on my video game conversation list, that I hey, you shouldn't be having conversations with these people. And you know, I've had, I don't know, I have friends that do content. They make certain kind of content, weird content, whatever the content. You make whatever content you want to make. And it's just funny that now they have a platform where they try to have their opinion, and they try to slough off everybody else's opinion. And it's just not the way you should go about it. As long as somebody is not being vile and calling you out and being personal about things, I think every opinion should be heard. And I feel like even if somebody has an opinion that's different to yours, you can always, there's a way to say it. Like, there's always a way to say it. And I think with so many video games coming out, there's so many different developers, there's so many different things going on. There's room for different opinion, whether that's music, whether that's footy, whether that's sport, whether that's video games. Like, there's always, everybody should be heard, and everybody should have their say in their platform. That's why here on the Seoul Dojo, I try to let everybody in the comments say what they got to say. I try to, reply to every comment. And I've had people say, look, I don't really like this, and I don't really like that. Liked your video though, which is great. And that kicks up a conversation. That starts a conversation. And that's what we're here for, to start the conversation. When I do my first impressions, I'm doing the first impressions just from my opinion and my perspective. That's it. I play the game for 10 plus hours, and I say, hey, this game is okay. I think you should buy it. If you play it and bought it already, and you say, you know what, man, this game isn't really for me, and I do like this, but you said this, and I don't really like that. Cool. We can start a conversation, and we can talk about that. Maybe you can kind of change my mind, and maybe I can see where you're coming from. I'm down for that. But the conversations I was having were just super vile. They were made personal, and they just weren't good conversation. They were held up on nostalgia. They outright told me they don't respect my opinion. And I'm a person that, if I see you being rude to somebody else's opinion that came across pretty justified, like, I don't like that. And look, man, like, everybody's behind a screen on social media and stuff, and it's not cool. Like, it's not cool to hide behind a screen and think that it's okay to just say whatever the hell you want to say to somebody, especially when you make it personal. The other day when I was on here, I was talking about a YouTuber that I just completely disagree with, and I feel like his opinions are juvenile. I feel like he comes across as somebody that has these very strong opinions, but what I really don't like about him is he makes it very clear in some of his opinions and his conversations that he doesn't play these games. He doesn't play certain games. And to have an opinion and just say, well, I just don't feel like this game. I don't feel like having this game come out right now. I don't feel like it. That's not an opinion, man. That's just juvenile. That's just childish. Especially a game where, like, a lot of people like. It's just weird. And sometimes I don't want to shout this YouTuber out. Like, I don't really want to give him clout. But also, like, I watch his videos because I know he has a different opinion than me. But, like, if you have a different opinion than me, like, share that opinion. I just want you to share it in a way that, like, is not educational, but, like, intelligent. Like, I don't know, make me kind of rethink things, We don't really get that a lot. We get a lot of this game sucks. It's like this is not the Seoul Dojo is not this. I'm sorry if that's what you came here for. That I'm not going to sit here and say, man, that game sucks. No, I'm going to sit here and tell you. Like I just said, hey, Sonic Racing. I have not played Sonic Racing Cross Worlds. I've not played it, and I can't really knock the game for features and how it is. But I'm just like just as a game itself. I'm just like, I would rather play Mario Kart. I don't want to waste the money and waste the time playing a Sonic Racing game. If you played it, you like it, great. I want to hear why. In the comments of this podcast, like I want to hear why you like it. Great. And I'm not going to sit here and be like, oh, it's a Sonic Racing game. Like your opinions suck. Like no, like it sold 1 million. Some people like it. So yeah, this person, he's just a weird YouTuber. He's made certain videos that I feel like are juvenile. Like the title says, well, Nintendo Switch, why it sucks. This is why it sucks. And it's like, dude, people like the Switch. We know what the Switch is. It needs to build out its exclusive library. We need a big one. Maybe I could talk about the Switch for a little bit before we get off here. The Switch needs a big Mario game. It needs a big Zelda game. I don't think Mario Kart World did it necessarily. Donkey Kong Bonanza's here. Some people do have their reservations about Donkey Kong Bonanza and their own opinion, a negative opinion about it, but it did come out. But Donkey Kong does sell, but it doesn't sell like Mario or Legend of Zelda sells. It doesn't. And we need to see something from Nintendo Switch. But yeah, back to opinions. Like if you're listening to this, whether you're on Spotify or on YouTube or whatever, like just have good video game conversation. Like I don't know. Some people don't listen to my stuff because I'm not up here screaming and cursing everywhere and not saying all this. It's like because dude, I want people to take me serious, and I used to do that. With sports, when not sports gamers one with another podcast I used to do. We were kind of like that. It was more of like a hangout, kickback kind of thing, and we used to do that. We used to cuss and scream and yell about stuff and do crazy stuff. And it's like that's not. I want to be looked at more as like a journalist, a pundit amongst video games, and somebody that you look at and say, hey, if this guy's saying it, it's a good opinion, or it's true. I want to be a person that's like, hey, this is true. One thing I could talk about, if we're going to talk about like fact checking and stuff like that, I'm hearing a little bit of stuff about UFC 6. I reached out to my sources. They can't really pin anything down on UFC 6 at the moment, but hopefully UFC 6 news comes out pretty soon. Or if I hear anything, you'll hear it here on the dojo or on Sports Gamers Online. Yeah, I mean, at some point there will be a UFC 6, right? The last game had its own issues, but I don't know. I haven't played a UFC game in a long time. I don't know about you guys. I haven't played a UFC game in a while, man. I really haven't. I don't know. It just seems like an EA game that's just mediocre. And I already deal with a lot of EA sports games enough when it comes to EAFC and other games. I'm just like, I'm not down to do another EA sports game unless they do NBA Live. Like I'm ready for some NBA Live action. I do like a good basketball game, and I do think 2K is a good game. I think controlling wise, gameplay wise, I think it's elite, honestly, at times. And this is from somebody that plays offline, doesn't play online. I've seen the videos of online. Holy God. Some people zigzag and they do all type of stuff to clip up the game, and it's ridiculous. So I can see why people get so upset at 2K. It's just weird. It's just weird. But yeah, man, just go out there, have good video game conversations. Trust in your knowledge, trust in what you're doing. If you're a creator, trust your ability. Trust your ability. I think that's one thing that I notice is like trust that you can make content well, and trust that you know what you're talking about. Because there's times I'm like, I feel like I know exactly what I'm talking about, but when I'm saying it, it's like, why does it sound like I don't? And it's like, just trust yourself. Trust yourself. Trust it. Trust the process. Trust that you know what you're talking about. And everything will be good. Everything will be okay. Everything will be good. Yeah, man. What would be 45 minutes in? I'm glad I talked this long for an hour. Like I said, it because it's me, I get to kind of vent a little bit more. I get to, it doesn't have to be strictly just video game related with news or discussions. I can kind of vent a little bit more about like what I'm going on with video games. I think one of the issues I have with video games right now is like I can't finish one. I cannot finish a video game to save my life, and I don't know what the hell it is. It's like you get caught up with work and school and everything. It's like your love is there and you want to play it, but then it's like if you're playing Cyberpunk, it's like, oh my god, I gotta, kind of go to these quests and do this quest and get involved in this story and do this and do that and do this and do that. It's like then you're like, ah, it's task. It's more task. It's more doing this. And it's like that's what the game should be like. Why don't I want to play you? I don't understand. Why don't I want to play this game? And I don't know. It's just weird. It's weird. I felt like that a lot with Final Fantasy Rebirth. I played it. It's massive. It's an open world Final Fantasy 7 game, and it's like there are so many systems in here. I don't want to get off work or take a break from doing homework, and all of a sudden I gotta do all this. And it's like it feels like work, even though it's fun. I don't know. I don't know how to explain it. It's just hard. It's just really hard to play a game sometimes, especially for me right now. I got everything is kicked up with school and work is picking up and sports gamers online and doing content about it. It's like you find yourself talking about games more than you're actually playing them. And that doesn't mean you don't know what you're talking about. It's just like, God, there's just so much going on and you just want to sit and play the game. You just want to sit and play something and it be memorable. That's why it's kind of like when I do the first impressions, I want to play something bad so I can have a bad first impressions take. But then like I end up playing games that I'm like, this should be good. This should be good because I'm picking out the good games because I'm like, I only have a limited time to play this. So I want to play something good. So yeah, it's a teeter-totter kind of thing. And I don't know. I'm trying to play as many games as I usually do, and I always get around to doing it. It's just a lot. Like right now, I want to finish my universe mode before the new WWE comes out, and you sit here and tell yourself, "Oh my god, I have time. I have time to do it. I have time to do it," and you never get around to it. It sucks. It genuinely sucks, man. If you guys notice, I did change my Twitter handle to Kurt from the Dojo because I was called out on Mike Knox's podcast. So I was like, hey, if you're gonna come for me for saying stuff about WWE 2K, it's Kurt from the Dojo. Boom, there it is right there. My background, I'm gonna have to change it very soon. A lot of stuff coming from me on the Dojo very soon. I hope if Nintendo can hurry up and get back to us. I'm getting a code on Thursday. I will have a first impressions review for you guys on Mario Tennis Fever. Hopefully I can have that review out, and then after that it'll be WWE, and sometime around that it should be a first impressions review on MLB. So you're getting a few sports ones after a few RPGs like my Octopath Traveler and things like that. You're getting a few sports ones, but they're good games. They're good games to do first impressions on. WWE usually does really well for me, and then Mario Tennis Fever is a brand new Mario Tennis game that's coming to Switch too, so I get to play that. And then MLB is always a fun one to do. We'll have Brandon on, of course, with that. So, man, make sure you guys subscribe to the Seoul Dojo Gaming channel. We're on our way to 1,000 subscribers. I'm so excited. We're growing in increments. It's slowly but surely. We are growing. We're growing. Make sure you guys get in the comments of this podcast. I will be putting out more videos. I think people like the news segments when I just talk about news and that is going on in the video game industry and I have my say on it. I think people do like that. So I'm going to try to do some more videos on that, but also the first impressions. I love them so much. I love doing them. You guys love them. You guys give major views on them and you get into the comments and share your thoughts and your opinions on these games. So make sure you guys subscribe to the Seoul Dojo Gaming channel. Make sure you follow me on X at Curtis from the Dojo. You can also follow me on Instagram, which is Curtis.videogames. I usually post like some of the clips from the podcast on there and throw out my opinion and stuff like that. So I'll check you guys later, all right? Peace. Enjoy it.